Excuse me. Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you?
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that you're—
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
Remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why
now,
would they
too?
get rid of the dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the character.
I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged. I truly do believe.
This is someone who is as entitled as, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up.
There are 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple. A wishing apple? You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not. First love's kiss can break any curse.
Something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings. I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
When the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the book we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two.
It sounds like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler, as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans.
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting maybe in the history of the film industry.
It was supposed to be a fairy tale comeback. A princess, a crown, a revival of Disney's most iconic story. But what Rachel Zegler got instead was a public execution in the court of pop culture. And now the Simpsons have taken it one step further, dragging her through the mud with zero mercy and roasting her on national television for millions to see. But that's just the beginning. An upcoming episode of The Simpsons doesn't just parody the Snow White remake, it obliterates it. The film within the show? A brutal satire titled Snow Woke, the reimagining. And it's exactly what you think it is. There's no subtle shade, no cleverly hidden jabs. It's direct. It's loud. And it's already setting the internet
Rachel
on
Zegler
fire.
just keeps making things worse
The
for the Walt
timing
Disney
couldn't be
Company.
worse for
The more
Rachel.
that she tries to defend this
Already
movie, the
drowning
more
in
that she
backlash
tries
and
to
locked in
spew
a
her
never-ending
agenda
PR nightmare.
onto the general
This
public. It's
cartoon
only
takedown
making matters
feels like the
worse,
final nail
not
in
just
her
for Bob
Hollywood
Iger, but
coffin.
for whatever is
The
left
satire
of the
paints her
image
as
of Disney as a
delusional,
whole.
arrogant, and totally disconnected from reality. A caricature of every criticism that's been hurled her way over the past year. It's not just a joke anymore. It's a warning shot. And Rachel? She's not laughing. But how did it get this bad? It all started with a dream. After winning critical praise for her role in West Side Story, Rachel was chosen as Disney's next princess. She was the face of the live-action Snow White reboot, a role that could have skyrocketed her into A-list status. But almost immediately, things began to fall apart. And it wasn't because of the movie itself, it was because of Rachel. It gets worse.
I just want to tell you guys about a little incredible movie that just came out, Snow White. Wow. I just got to tell you, best movie I've seen in years, and there have been some really, really good films lately. Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 1, that movie, that transgender one with the Mexican drug lord. But Snow White blows them all away. Chat, this movie has everything. Horrifying, CGI, little people, check. A feminist princess who don't need no man, double check. Diddy dance party at the end, double diddy check. All this to say, go see Snow White right now. The new one. Not that old stupid one where the princess gets saved by some good, upstanding guy.
Instead of leaning into the legacy of Snow White, Rachel went viral for tearing it apart. In interview after interview, she criticized the original 1937 film, calling it outdated, weird, and problematic. One clip had her straight up claiming the prince literally stalks Snow White in the cartoon. Fans were stunned. It felt less like a reimagining and more like an insult. And just like that, the tide turned. Rather than selling nostalgia, Disney was now selling controversy. Rachel's remarks about turning the story into a tale of female leadership instead of romance didn't come off as empowering, they came off as condescending. Viewers felt like she wasn't celebrating the role. She was mocking it. And the backlash exploded. The reason this spiraled so fast? Disney said nothing. While fans raged online, the company stayed quiet. No clarifications. No PR pivot. Just a slow-motion crash with Rachel at the wheel. She kept doing press. She kept making statements. And each one poured gasoline on an already raging fire. Even the red carpet couldn't save her.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
During awards season, fans noticed her awkward energy with co-star Gal Gadot. At the Oscars, the two presented together, but didn't interact at all. Viewers read between the lines. Rumors spread like wildfire that Gal had distanced herself behind the scenes. It wasn't just speculation. It was body language. Cold, stiff, silent. But listen to this. Even the movie itself felt like it had abandoned its roots. Gone were the 7 dwarfs. Gone was the prince. Gone was the magic. What hit theaters was a clumsy mashup of CGI, modern messaging, and a confused storyline. It didn't feel like Snow White. It felt like a parody of itself. And that disconnect cost them dearly. The film bombed at the box office.
Snow White gets her name, not from the fairness of her skin, as we obviously know Rachel Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm.
Despite the Disney name, the marketing muscle, and all the media hype, it flopped. Fans didn't just skip it. They dragged it. Memes flooded Reddit. Reviews mocked its visuals, its writing, and most of all, Rachel's performance. But the fallout didn't stop at bad reviews. The film earned a humiliating 1.6 rating on IMDb, one of the lowest ever for a Disney production. That wasn't just a failure. That was history. And while Disney kept pushing forward like nothing was wrong, the public had already moved on, labeling the movie a cautionary tale in franchise destruction. Then came the twist no one saw coming. A fake OnlyFans account popped up online using Rachel's AI-generated likeness. It wasn't real, but it didn't matter. It went viral almost instantly. People believed it, shared it, joked about it. That's how far her public image had fallen. The idea of Rachel Zegler being impersonated on an adult site didn't seem outrageous. It seemed believable.
That audiences walk away from this film with an understanding of the true meaning of fairness, of what it means to be fair in this world. There is a message that's been carried on for almost 90 years now from the original animated classic. That is, fairness is what is within. Fairness is to do with your heart, the way you treat the people around you, and it has nothing to do with what you look like, and that's the misunderstanding between Snow White and the Evil Queen. I think it's such an important message, and the way that Disney has elevated it and brought it to this new audience is very special.
And that, more than anything, shows how deep the damage runs. 'Cause in Hollywood, perception is everything. And after the Snow White debacle, casting directors started backing away. Slowly, quietly. Projects Rachel was attached to mysteriously stalled. Names were removed. Roles recast. No one wanted to say it out loud, but insiders hinted she'd become a PR risk. But there's more. At the same time, her personal life was also unraveling. Rachel and her longtime boyfriend Josh Andres Rivera, who she met during West Side Story, reportedly called it quits. Sources say the pressure, the backlash, and the media circus put too much strain on the relationship. The fairy tale was over, on and off screen. Then came the final blow. The Simpsons dropped the hammer. Their episode featuring Rachel Z doesn't just mock Snow White, it demolishes it. In the episode, Rachel's animated counterpart cancels fairy tale lore, bans princes, and lectures villagers with cringe-worthy monologues. It ends with her melting down on Krusty the Clown's talk show in full pastel panic mode. It's not subtle. It's not playful. It's savage. And here's the kicker. When The Simpsons roast you like this, it's not just comedy. It's cultural commentary. This is the same show that skewered presidents, pop stars, and billionaires. It doesn't come for the rising, it comes for the fallen. And in mocking Rachel, they've officially declared her a punchline. But even satire has consequences. Public doesn't just laugh, they internalize it. For viewers who didn't know the full Snow White saga, The Simpsons gave them the short version. Rachel Zegler, the out-of-touch starlet who turned a Disney classic into a disaster. In one 22-minute episode, years of damage control were undone. It's no coincidence the parody dropped while Rachel is still licking her wounds. In fact, insiders say she was blindsided. The episode hadn't even aired before clips started leaking online. Her team tried to contain it. But it was too late. The hashtags were already trending. Hashtag SnowWoke. Hashtag Rachel Z. Hashtag The Simpsons said it. The memes came next. Fans remixed scenes from the show with real-life interviews. Side-by-sides comparing animated Rachel's monologues with her infamous press junket soundbites went viral. One edit spliced the fictional meltdown with footage from her red carpet appearance, both wearing the same pink outfit. The internet didn't miss a beat. And that's when Hollywood finally blinked. Not with statements. Not with cancellations. But with silence. Kind that speaks volumes. Rachel's upcoming roles? Suspiciously quiet. Her public appearances? Farce. The offers? Drying up. Executives don't need to blacklist a name, they just stop answering the phone. This isn't just a PR problem anymore. It's a brand crisis. 'Cause Rachel wasn't just cast as Snow White. She was Snow White. Every poster, every teaser, every press release. Disney bet the house on her. And when that house caught fire, no one came running with a hose. Now the smoke is still rising, and Rachel's standing in the middle of it, alone. But here's the million-dollar question. Is it over? Or is this the turning point? Hollywood loves a redemption arc. Cancel culture burns fast, but forgiveness can come just as quickly. One right role, one breakout performance, one viral moment in a good way, and Rachel could claw her way back into the spotlight. But it won't be easy. She's not just rebuilding her image. She's rebuilding trust. Because for the fans, the media, and especially the studios, Rachel Zegler became a warning sign. About PR gone wrong. About modernizing classics the wrong way. About forgetting the magic that made fairy tales work in the first place. The question isn't whether Rachel will act again. It's whether anyone will watch. And with The Simpsons now immortalizing her fall, she'll have to work twice as hard to change the narrative. Because in this business, you don't get to choose how you're remembered. The audience does. And right now, they're still laughing. But every story has a twist, and in Hollywood, comebacks are currency. If Rachel wants to rise again, it'll take more than an apology tour. It'll take talent, humility, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of that old-school Disney magic. 'Cause if The Simpsons gave her the meme of the year, only Rachel Zegler can decide if she becomes the joke or the comeback story of a generation.